Hi, my name is Katy Meyers Emery, and welcome to Managing Your Digital Identity. This workshop is provided with help from the Michigan State University Graduate School and gradhacker.org, helping grad students hack graduate education since 2011. So, what really is a digital identity? When you think about it, anything that you do online, like Facebook, Twitter, articles you've written, articles people have written about you, articles you've posted about yourself, and maybe fun things like a video game profile or your Pinterest page. All of those things online that you yourself have put up or that someone else has done for you, all of those are part of your digital identity. So, if your digital identity is already out there, why do you actually need to manage it? If somebody else is doing all the work, why do you need to take control? Well, I'm sure you've all done this. You hear about somebody new who's coming to visit, maybe a lecturer, maybe a person who's trying out for a job, and what do? You look up their name on Google. Everyone does it. What you want, though, is that when people look up your name on Google, they find the right you. They find articles that you want them to find. They find out about up-to-date current information that really supports who you are as a professional. One tip of advice, if you do decide to actually search your own name and see what your digital identity looks like online, just make sure that you're not using personalized searching. If this little guy is dark gray, that means you're doing personalized searching because you're signed in. The results will look a lot better, but they're not what everybody else is seeing. So make sure that you just click the little globe when you're doing this. So when people are looking for you online, having a really strong digital identity is important. It's just as important as dressing up for a conference or dressing up for a job interview. You want people to know that you're serious about your job, to know that you're passionate, and to know current things about you. One of the great things we can do, though, is we can game Google a little bit. So we can use name brand big sites. We can use positive reinforcement of our identity. And these can help Google find the real us, the one that we really want professionals to see. So when you're ready to start building this digital identity, I have 3 principles that I go by. First, always have a uniform profile. This is the elevator speech. It's a short discussion of who you are, what you do, and what your goals are. For example, I'm Katy Meyers Emery. I'm a PhD candidate at Michigan State University, and I'm studying mortuary archaeology. If I want to add on to that, I may say other things like I'm also into public archaeology and outreach. I like doing digital engagement and digital humanities work. Maybe some nice, fun, quirky facts just to make sure I'm a little bit human and not all an academic robot. Things like, I also like video games, and I have a lot of fun looking at archaeology in games. Second, it's really important to have a uniform picture. Pictures are a great way to quickly identify if the person that you're looking for online is the same person on every website and is the same person that they might have met at a conference or a job interview. So if you think about branding, MSU always uses Spartan helmets. For GradHacker, we always use our fun little robot friend here. You want to do the same thing. Now, whether or not this is a personal picture, maybe one of you out in the field doing some work, a picture of you in the lab, a picture of you presenting, or if it's actually a professional headshot, really depends on what type of business you're looking to go into and the discipline that you work in. For my discipline, a lot of people have photos of them out in the field, and that's great and totally appropriate. For others, that might not be the best thing, so look around to see what other professionals are doing. Finally, you need to make sure that you're consistently updating these websites. You don't want somebody to go to one of these profiles and to not be sure if they can actually trust the information. Having little updates like you just got an award or you're working on a new paper or maybe you have a new collaborator, just simple little things like that to let people know that you've been on this profile recently, you've made sure the information is correct and up to date, and they can trust it. With just these 3 principles, you can develop a very strong digital identity that will serve you well into the future. So here's an example of my digital identity. As you can see, I have the same name, the same profile picture, and the same general feel to each of the sites. I have same keywords, I repeat that I'm a PhD student here at MSU, and I also try to use the same background image, which is of a cemetery in England, that really fits with this identity that I'm trying to build of being an active mortuary archaeologist. The key to having a great digital identity is putting together a profile that really represents your brand. You want people to know what you're passionate about, what you want to do in the future, and how you're going to get there. Some other tips you can think about, though, is that you can be really creative and authentic. You don't have to have a plain, boring website that looks like a standard CV. You can be a little creative. You can show off your artwork. You can show off digital projects you've created. You really want this to be a good reflection of you and who you are. Remember to showcase your abilities. These are your websites. It's your identity. You want people to see all the awesome things about you. Also, always make sure it's up to date and current, even if you're just adding a little tweak or you're posting something about little things that you did. Just make sure you keep it up to date. Another great idea is to keep it uniform with your job or academic website or other social media. So I like to use the color green a lot in what I'm doing just to reinforce that I'm a proud MSU student. You can do things like that too. You can keep colors the same, you can keep images the same, you can reference other websites. This is a great way to show that you have this institutional connection. Another great idea is using your industry buzzwords. You don't want your website to be too jargon-filled, but using some keywords can be really helpful, especially when people are looking for you online. By taking that jargon and including it in your website, people will find you better on searches. So figure out what those good buzzwords are and make sure to use them. The goal of having this digital identity is creating an online network that's reflective of your real-life one as well as your aspirational one. So we want these websites to really work for you. We want them to help you create connections, both ones that you already have and ones that you want to make in the future. When we're dealing with sites like LinkedIn or academia.edu, what you really want to make sure is that you have a lot of high-quality connections rather than a high number. You want to make connections with people that are really meaningful, that are personalized. You're not just trying to collect every person that you can. You really want this to be something that works for you and that is powerful. If you just try to connect with everyone, it's not going to have that strength. You don't need to accept random invitations from people on these websites, and you don't have to connect with friends. There are other websites that are for your friends, like Facebook. So if it's not somebody who you really want to be in your professional network, it's okay not to accept their invitation, and it's fine to ignore invitations of people who don't really have anything to do with your network. All right, here's something really important to understand. There is no privacy on the internet. There never was, there never will be. It doesn't matter if you have high security. It doesn't matter if it's protected behind paywalls. There is no privacy. People get fired all the time for a little snarky remark they put up on Facebook, something they shared on Twitter. Don't be one of those people. If you wouldn't say it in real life, don't say it online where it's going to be immortalized forever in the digital world. So, speaking of privacy, what if you want to have a personal identity and a professional identity online? Well, one of the ways you can do this is by separating the professional and the personal. You can use different names, different pictures, not include things about yourself on personal sites that you would on your professional website. You can post different content. All these are ways of creating divisions between your professional and your personal identity online. Of course, that doesn't mean it's private. It doesn't mean it's safe. If you post something on Facebook, it still might get out into the professional world. So again, remember, there is no privacy. Another issue when we're thinking about privacy is copyright. Anything that you publish online is totally free game unless it's copyrighted. And you don't want to rely on other websites to do it for you. Academia.edu claims that anything that you post online will still belong to you and is still your intellectual property. However, they can also change their rules anytime they want. So make sure that you put your own license on your work. Make sure you protect everything you do. An easy way to do this is using Creative Commons. It's totally free, it's easy to use, and you can just do it online very quickly. All you have to do is go to creativecommons.org/choose, and you can pick a license to post on your own work. They make it really easy so that you can make your work anything from all rights reserved to completely free to use. Personally, I like making my work open, but requiring that anyone who uses it attributes it to me. So make sure that you have a copyright on anything that you post online. If you're just getting started, I highly suggest using the big name sites first. These are places where you can easily throw up a CV and a resume, and they'll be found very quickly by Google. These are sites like LinkedIn, which is a great site for having CVs and connecting with professionals, Academia.edu, which is a wonderful way to connect with other academics and to share papers, Twitter, great microblogging networking site, Facebook, which I'm sure you all know as a more personal site, but that is increasingly professional because we're using groups and pages as a way to connect, or Google+, which is very similar to Facebook in the style. You can also use your department or company's website. A lot of us have access to pages through our department or through our school or college or company that we can use to post stuff about ourselves. That's a great place to start if you want to make something that's a little bit more personal. However, if you want to go totally personal, you can also develop your own website. WordPress.com, Tumblr, different sites like that are free to use and are a great way for you to have your own website that has everything that you want on it. Just remember, whatever you decide to use, keep your content up to date and keep your digital identity the same across all platforms. So, have I convinced you? Are you ready to get that digital identity going? Well, you should come to one of our full-day boot camps. We'll be having them on October 10th and February 13th. And over the course of a day, you'll learn more about managing this digital identity, creating a uniform profile, and we'll actually get into how to create your own personal website and to begin developing one for you. There's also a lot of other great workshops through the graduateschool.msu.edu that can help you with this digital identity, and I highly suggest checking them out. Hope to see you in the future at one of our boot camps, and good luck managing that digital identity.